In the vast silence of space, where stars shimmered like distant fires and planets spun quietly in their orbits, a sudden, desperate signal broke through the endless black. It was weak, faint, and full of fear, a call for help that traveled across light years. The SOS came from a planet few dared to visit, a place known only in legends and whispered warnings. It was a death world. On board the Deathworlders ship Sentinel, the crew was scattered across the dimly lit control room when the alert sounded. The sharp beep of the signal was unusual, different from anything they had encountered before. Commander Rin, a tall woman with steady eyes and a calm voice, moved quickly to her console. Her fingers flew across the controls as she traced the origin of the distress call. "Signal detected," she announced to the team. "Origin, Vortex 9, the Death World." A murmur ran through the crew. Vortex 9 was infamous, a planet covered in toxic storms, jagged mountains, and creatures that could kill a person in seconds. No one went there without a good reason. And the last message from Vortex 9 had been silenced for decades. Zara, the ship's communications expert, leaned closer to her screen. "The signal is weak, but it's repeating. Someone or something is still alive down there." Rin's face grew serious. "We're the closest rescue team. We have to respond." Outside the ship, space was cold and empty. But inside the Sentinel, hope and fear mixed in the air. The team prepared for the worst, packing weapons, supplies, and breathing gear for the toxic atmosphere they expected below. As the ship moved toward Vortex 9, the crew reviewed every detail they had on the planet, its dangerous storms, the collapsed cities, and the strange readings of energy that had baffled scientists for years. "We don't know what caused the signal," said Rin. "But if it's a trap, we need to be ready." The Sentinel's engines roared as it entered the planet's orbit, breaking through thick, swirling clouds of green and violet. Lightning flashed around them, illuminating the ruined surface below. "Landing zone identified," the pilot reported. "Minimal safe area near the old settlement." The crew suited up in thick protective gear and prepared to descend. Airlock opened. A cold wind filled the cabin, carrying a strange scent, a mix of decay and something metallic. Outside, the landscape was a nightmare. Crumbled buildings, broken machines half buried in ash, and giant twisted trees reaching toward a dark sky. The storm was fierce, rain lashing sideways, and strange howls echoed in the distance. Rin led the team down the cracked streets of the settlement, her eyes sharp for any sign of life or danger. The signal was still strong, guiding them deeper into the ruins. Suddenly Zara stopped and pointed. Over there, movement. A figure, thin, barely visible, darted behind a ruined wall. The team froze. Could it be a survivor or something worse? They moved cautiously, weapons ready. As they approached, a low growl rumbled from the shadows. The team's scanners picked up multiple heat signatures, not all human. Rin's voice was firm. "Prepare for contact. Stay alert." Suddenly, from the darkness, strange creatures emerged, tall, with glowing eyes and sharp claws. They moved fast, circling the team like hunters. The Deathworlders fired warning shots, but the creatures did not flee. Instead, they vanished into the mist as quickly as they appeared, leaving only echoes behind. Breathing hard, Zara checked her console again. "The SOS, it's not just a call for help, it's a warning." Rin nodded. "We're not alone. Here, and whatever sent that signal, wants us to know something dangerous." The team pushed forward, following the signal to a central tower, half collapsed, but still standing against the storm. Inside, they found strange technology. Alien machines humming with energy, covered in symbols no one recognized. Zara reached out, touching a glowing panel. Suddenly, the tower's systems flickered to life, projecting a holographic message. A face appeared, ancient, serious, and full of warning. "The Zalinari," whispered Rin. "An ancient race wiped out long ago." The hologram spoke in a calm voice. "The weapon sleeps beneath your feet. It will awaken and bring destruction to all if not stopped. This is the last warning. Heed the SOS." survive. The room trembled. Outside, the storm grew louder, almost as if the planet itself was reacting to the warning. Rin's heart pounded. You have to find that weapon and fast. The team prepared for what lay ahead, knowing the SOS was only the beginning. Whatever danger waited beneath Vortex, 9 was older, darker, and deadlier than they could imagine. And somewhere, in the cold silence of space, other eyes watched, waiting to see if the Deathworlders would answer the call, or become the next. Victims of the desperate SOS that echoed across the stars, the Sentinel hovered just above the battered surface of Vortex, 9 buffeted by violent winds that howled like wild beasts. Captain Rin stared out through the thick window, watching as lightning cracked across the dark sky, revealing the twisted shapes of broken buildings and jagged rocks. The landing zone was a narrow patch of cracked ground near the old settlement. It was the only place where their heavy ship could touch down safely. Below, the planet breathed a deadly storm. Toxic gases hung in the air, mixed with ash and strange, glowing spores drifting in the wind. "Suit up, Rin," ordered calmly. "We don't know what's waiting for us out there." Her team moved, quickly slipping into thick protective armor and helmets designed to filter out the planet's poisonous air. Zara checked her comms and scanners one last time. "Signal is stronger here, but unstable. Whoever sent it is close or still alive." As the Sentinel's landing pads touched the ground, a loud crack echoed. The planet itself seemed to shudder. The storm grew fiercer, rain falling sideways, stinging their suits. The airlock opened and the team stepped out into the chaos. Each step kicked up dust and ash. The ground beneath their feet was cracked and uneven, covered with strange black vines that pulsed faintly with blue light. "Keep your eyes open," Rin warned. "We don't know what caused this disaster." The team moved in formation through the ruins, their boots crunching on broken glass and metal scraps. Strange shapes moved just beyond their sight, shadows that melted away when looked at directly. Suddenly, Zara's scanner beeped loudly. Movement detected multiple life forms approaching fast. "Get ready," Rin shouted. The team raised their weapons, hearts pounding. From the swirling mist, strange creatures appeared. They were tall and lean, with shiny scales that reflected the weak light. Their eyes glowed bright green. They hissed low warnings and circled the team like hungry wolves. Rin held her ground. "We mean no harm. Stay back." But the creatures didn't listen. With terrifying speed, they lunged forward. Blaster shots rang out, lighting up the dark. Ruins. The team fought fiercely, driving the creatures back. But they could feel the planet's dangers closing in. After the fight, the team regrouped, shaken but alive. "These creatures aren't just animals," Zara said, checking her scanner again. "They're guarding something." Rin nodded. The SOS signal wasn't just a cry for help. It's a trap, or a warning. The team pushed deeper into the settlement. They found signs of a battle, scorched walls, broken weapons, and strange symbols etched into stone. Something had gone very wrong here. Then, near the center of the ruins, they discovered a large sealed door made of unknown metal. The SOS signal was coming from behind it. Zara worked to unlock the door, fingers trembling. As it hissed open, a cold wind blew out, carrying with it a smell of metal and old power. Inside, the chamber was dark and silent, filled with strange machines and glowing crystals. In the middle, a console blinked with a faint light. Rin stepped forward and touched the console. Suddenly, a hologram flickered to life, the face of an ancient being, warning them in a calm but serious voice, "The weapon lies beneath. We'll wake soon. Stop it, or all will be lost." The planet shook violently, dust falling from the ceiling. Rin turned to her team, eyes fierce. "We're not just here to rescue. We're here to stop a disaster." The storm outside roared louder, and the team knew their mission was only beginning. They would have to face the dangers of the planet and the secrets buried deep beneath its surface, or risk losing everything. The team stood at the edge of the sealed chamber, the hologram's warning still ringing in their ears. The air was thick with tension, heavy like the storm clouds swirling outside. Captain Rin's gaze didn't waver as she surveyed the strange technology around them, machines humming with a quiet energy, glowing softly in the dark. "This weapon," she said slowly, "it's not just a tool. It's a force that destroyed the people who lived here." Zara studied the alien symbols etched on the control panels. "These designs, they're from the Zalinari civilization. Thought they vanished centuries ago." The others exchanged uneasy glances. The Zalinari were a lost race, known for their powerful technology and secrets that even the oldest star maps didn't reveal. Rin stepped closer to the console, her fingers tracing the smooth surface. The SOS wasn't just a signal for help. It was a warning. Someone or something wanted to make sure we knew what was buried here. Suddenly, the console flickered, and a new message appeared, a map of the planet's underground network, showing tunnels and chambers that ran deep beneath the surface. "It's a labyrinth," Zara said. "In the core of the weapon is..." At the center, the room trembled again, as if the planet was waking from a long sleep. Outside, the storm intensified, lightning striking closer with every second. Rin's voice was firm. "We have to move. If this weapon activates, it could destroy everything, not just this planet, but the whole system." The team prepared to enter the tunnels, their hearts pounding. They moved carefully, the weight of their mission heavy. On their shoulders, as they descended, strange noises echoed mechanical whirs, distant rumbling and a faint pulsing hum that seemed to come from deep underground. Zara checked her scanner. Energy readings are off the charts. This weapon is still alive. The tunnels twisted and turned, filled with traps and alien defenses. The team used every skill they had to avoid deadly pitfalls and strange creatures that had made the underground their home. Hours passed, and the pressure mounted. Every step brought them closer to the heart of the mystery and the danger. At last, they reached a massive door, sealed with glowing runes that pulsed with power. Rin took a deep breath. This is it, the core. With a slow motion, the door opened, revealing a giant chamber. In the center, a massive sphere of energy floated, bright, dangerous, alive. The weapon was real, and it was awakening. The chamber's eerie glow cast long shadows over the team as they stared at the massive sphere pulsing with raw energy. It was beautiful and terrifying, a power beyond anything they had ever seen. But as awe filled the room, a cold feeling crept in, unseen by most. One member of the team's eyes flickered with something darker, doubt, fear, maybe even betrayal. Captain Rin kept her focus steady. "We must find a way to shut this down before it fully activates." Zara was already at the console, her fingers flying over the alien symbols and controls, trying to understand the technology. But the silence hid more than the hum of machines. In the shadows, whispers grew. One crew member, Kale, had been acting strangely since their arrival. He avoided the others, glanced nervously at the weapon. His hands trembled whenever he spoke about the mission. Unbeknownst to the team, Kale had a secret he was in. Contact with a group that wanted the weapon for themselves. The Syndicate, ruthless and powerful, had promised him safety and wealth if he could secure the weapon's core. As Zara worked to hack the controls, Kale slipped away toward a side door. His heart beat quick and steady. "Kale." Rin called out, suspicion flickering in her voice. "Where are you going?" Kale didn't answer. Instead, he activated a hidden transmitter on his wrist, sending a coded message to the Syndicate. Suddenly, alarms blared. The chamber shook violently. The ancient defenses had detected unauthorized activity. Rin's team spun around, weapons ready. "Intruders," Zara said, eyes wide. "The Syndicate ships are here. They tracked us." Through the thick glass of the entrance, dark ships swooped into view. Weapons flashing and engines roaring, Rin's mind raced. "Kale, what did you do?" Kale stepped out from the shadows, guilt and resolve clashing in his eyes. "I didn't have a choice. They threatened my family." Betrayal cut deep. The team was torn. Anger, fear, confusion, all at once. "We can't trust him," Zara whispered, moving to stand beside Rin. Rin nodded. "But we need to survive first." The chamber doors began to close automatically, sealing them inside. Battle was about to begin, not just against the Syndicate, but against the darkness growing within their own ranks. The chamber trembled as the doors slammed shut behind the team. Outside, the thunder of Syndicate ships echoed through the skies of Vortex 9. The Deathworlders were trapped, caught between the ancient weapons awakening and the enemy's closing. In Captain Rin's eyes flashed with determination. "We don't have much time. The weapon is powering up, and the Syndicate will be here any second." Zara worked quickly at the alien console, decoding the symbols with urgency. "If we don't shut it down soon, it will unleash destruction across the galaxy." Kale stood apart, silent, haunted by the weight of his betrayal. But now, he had no choice but to fight alongside the team if they were going to survive. Rin glanced around, split up. "Zara and I will try to disable the core, the rest, prepare defenses." The team nodded, each member steeling themselves for the coming fight. As Rin and Zara moved closer to the weapon's heart, the ground shook violently. Energy surged through the chamber, pulsing like a heartbeat, but faster, louder. Stars. Stronger. Zara's fingers flew across the controls. "There's a failsafe, but it's complicated. We have to disable the energy conduits first." Rin moved with precision, dodging blasts of raw power that shot from the core. "We'll have to cut the conduits at the same time, or the system will reboot." Outside the chamber, the others prepared for the Syndicate's assault. Blaster fire lit up the dark corridors as mercenaries poured into the ruins. Hungry for the weapon's power, Kale fought fiercely, proving his loyalty with every shot fired. But his guilt weighed heavily. Could he ever truly be trusted? Back. Inside, Zara's voice was strained. "I'm almost there. Just one more conduit." Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. A massive explosion rocked the walls, and the lights flickered. Rin yelled, "Zara, hold on. We're almost done." With a final burst of effort, Zara cut the last conduit. The weapon's glow dimmed, its terrible pulse slowing. Outside, the Syndicate forces faltered, confused by the sudden power drop. Rin's voice was steady but urgent. "We've disabled the core, but only for now. The weapon can still reactivate." The team gathered, battered but alive. The race against time was far from over. The dim light of the weapon's core pulsed faintly as Captain Rin and her team regrouped in the ruined chamber. The tension in the air was thick, heavier than before. The weapon was only temporarily disabled. Every second counted. Outside, the Syndicate's ships swarmed over the dark landscape like vultures ready to strike again. The planet's storms howled louder, as if the death world itself was angry at the intrusion. Rin looked at her team, Zara, Kale, and the others. They were bruised, tired, but their eyes burned with determination. "We have one chance to end this," she said firmly. "We must destroy the weapon before it wakes again." Zara nodded, already tapping into the alien console, searching for a way to trigger the weapon's complete shutdown. Kale paced nervously, wrestling with his guilt but ready to prove himself. "Here's the problem," Zara said, after moments of silence. "The weapon has a self-repair system. If we don't destroy its core physically, it will come back online." Rin clenched her fists. "Then we'll destroy the core, no matter what it takes." The team prepared their explosives and weapons. Every movement was careful, deliberate. This mission was more dangerous than any they had faced. They moved deeper into the heart of the underground complex, the walls narrowing, the air thick with energy and tension. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. Automated defenses sprang to life. Laser turrets, energy shields, and mechanical guardians of the ancient technology, the Deathworlders fought fiercely. Blaster fire echoed in the tunnels. Sparks flew as weapons clashed with machines. Zara shouted, "We're close! The core room is just ahead." He pushed forward, dodging attacks and disabling traps. Kale saved Zara from a sudden blast, earning a nod of thanks from Rawayan. Last, they reached the core chamber. A vast space filled with glowing cables and energy conduits snaking like vines. In the center floated the core, a pulsating orb of raw power, alive and dangerous. Rin set the explosives carefully, sweat dripping from her brow. "Get ready to fall back as soon as this goes off." Suddenly, the Syndicate mercenaries burst into the chamber, weapons raised. The final battle had begun. The team fought with everything they had. Shots fired, alarms blared, and the weapons. Energy surged unpredictably. Kale faced down one enemy leader, while Zara worked furiously to finish the detonator's countdown. Rin covered her team, firing at advancing foes. 3, 2, 1. Massive explosion rocked the chamber. Light flooded the space as the core shattered, sending waves of energy outward. The ground trembled violently as the ancient weapon died, its terrible pulse finally silenced. When the dust settled, the team was battered but victorious. Outside, the storm began to calm. The Syndicate ships retreated, defeated for now. Rin looked at her crew, pride and relief washing over her. We stopped it, but this is just one battle in a larger war. Zara nodded. There are more secrets out there, more threats waiting. In the darkness, Kale, once the betrayer, now stood tall, a survivor, ready to face whatever came next. The Deathworld had tested them all and they had survived. But the galaxy was vast, and the echoes of danger were far from silent. The storm on Vortex 9 had finally begun to calm. The dark clouds slowly parted, revealing the pale light of distant stars. But inside the Sentinel, the tension was far from over. Captain Rin and her team were quiet, their faces marked by exhaustion, and the heavy weight of what they had just survived. The destruction of the weapons core had saved countless lives for now. But Zara's eyes were troubled as she stared at the star map projected before them. There's something else, she said softly. The weapon was part of a larger network, a series of weapons hidden across the galaxy. This was just the first. Rin's jaw tightened. So the Syndicate wasn't after just this weapon. They want the whole network. Kale nodded slowly, regret still shadowing his expression. And now they know we're here. They won't stop hunting us. The team fell silent, each lost in their own thoughts. The galaxy was more dangerous than ever. The Deathworld's secrets had opened a door to something far bigger. Suddenly an alarm sounded. Zara rushed to her console. Incoming transmission. Encrypted. Rin stepped forward, put it through. A distorted voice filled the room, calm but cold. You think you've won? This is only the beginning. The Syndicate will rise again. And the shadows you fear, they are closer than you think. The transmission ended. Rin's eyes narrowed. We have to prepare. The war isn't over. It's just begun. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant. The echoes of that desperate SOS still lingered, a warning and a challenge to all who dared listen. The Deathworlders had answered the call. Now, they had to survive what came next. The silence after the storm was almost deafening. Captain Rin stood at the Sentinel's observation window, watching the twin suns rise over the scarred landscape of Vortex 9. The planet was still dangerous, but for now, there was peace. Her team gathered nearby, weary but alive. The battle had tested them all, pushed their limits and broken old bonds, but it had also forged something stronger: trust, courage, and hope. Zara approached, holding a small data chip. We've collected everything we can from the ruins. The Syndicate's plans are more dangerous than we imagined. Rin took the chip, her mind racing. We'll send this to the Galactic Council. They need to know what's coming. Kale stood quietly, looking out the window. I made mistakes, he said softly, but I want to help fix them. Rin nodded. We all have. What matters is what we do next. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up a faint signal, a new SOS, faint but clear. The galaxy was calling again. Rin's eyes sparkled with determination. Prepare the ship. We're going to answer that call. As the Sentinel lifted off, leaving the Deathworld behind, the stars stretched out before them, endless, mysterious, full of danger and hope. The echoes of the past had faded, but the future was waiting. The Deathworlders would be ready. Because in the vastness of space, heroes are made by the battles they fight and the choices they make.